This is Maximilian Alvarez for the Real News Network, reporting from Bessemer, Alabama, where right now, one of the most significant union votes in our lifetime is currently underway. Around 5,800 workers at the Amazon Fulfillment Center here in Bessemer are currently involved in the process of voting on whether or not to form a union and affiliate with the retail, wholesale, and department store union. If successful, they would become the first unionized Amazon workforce in the United States.
My name is Jennifer Bates, and I am a worker at Amazon facility in Birmingham, in Bessemer, Alabama.
Awesome. Well, Jennifer, it's so great to sit down and chat with you. How long have you been working at the facility?
Well, I've actually been working at Amazon Birmingham 1 since May 1st, 2020.
Okay. So like right around when it opened, yeah?
Yes, probably about a month or two after it opened.
And, were you originally from the area? Because I know that some folks kind of came from out of town when they knew that the facility was opening.
Well, yes, I'm actually from Marion, Alabama. I moved to Bessemer about 12 years ago, and I lived in Bessemer about 4 years, and then I moved to Birmingham. Mm-hmm. So right now I'm residing in Birmingham, Alabama. Okay.
And what were you doing before Amazon?
I worked at U.S. Pipe and Foundry. We made water pipe.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And was that a union shop?
Yes, it was represented by a union as well.
So were you in the original group of folks who, were interested in kind of contacting the RWDSU?
Yes, I was.
Could you tell me a little bit, what that process was like? Like, when did those conversations get started, and what was it like?
Well, the conversations got started after hearing people complaining and wanting to quit, and it became overly excessive. Mm-hmm. More not like complaining, but more like a cry. Mm-hmm. But I can't quit. I need my job. And some say I got to find something else because this ain't what it is. It was just like a little saying. But after hearing a lot of that, and as I've said earlier, walking in and out of there, my mind was just spinning because I look at things and I say, why is this like this? Why is that like this? This could be a little different. If they do this, that will make things easier. So walking in and out, I was processing a lot of things. So then talking to other people who've also been a part of a union, things came out, things would be a little bit better if we had a union here. So as those conversations began, on break and parking lots and stuff, a few of us got together and thought about, hey, what about trying to find the proper union for this facility? And then someone reached out and said, hey, I found someone. Mm-hmm. And I said, do you trust them? Are they, this is the real deal? Are they, yes. He was like, yes, I've met with them. And I said, okay. So we began to meet with them, and we went from there.
What sorts of things were you noticing, like when you said you were walking in and out? Because I remember when I was working at warehouses and stuff, when I tried to tell management that they were doing things inefficiently, they got very suspicious of me. So they didn't want to hear that from me. Mm-hmm. So what sorts of things were you picking up on in other, workers there? What sorts of issues were coming up on your regular shifts that you felt you wanted to address through a union? Well,
some of the issues that were coming up are mostly going up and down the stairs from second, third, and fourth floors. We have stairs, but we don't have efficient elevators for the employees. There's one elevator once we come in and start on the first floor, but we were told that we're not allowed to use the elevators. So we were all using the stairs. And then another thing is you have tons of elevators all over the facility, first, second, and third and fourth floors, but they were for the products and for the totes to bring them up and down. So I would use a pallet, what we call a pallet, and move product, put it on that elevator, and push the button to send it to the floor that it needs to go on. But then I have to turn around and take the stairs to go up and remove it off the elevator.
Really?
So we're not. It's almost like one set of stairs is on the back wall, like at a hotel, mm-hmm. and the others are like in the middle of the facility. So some of them are like real long, mm-hmm. Another thing is the break times. We noticed that we have extended breaks, and in previous jobs, the breaks are not stretched out that long, 3.5, 4 hours. Sometimes you may have to work 5 hours if we have mandatory overtime during that time. So, seeing people walking out, we have small break rooms and small bathrooms. Well, during the shift, you have some that are shut down. Some only have 2 stalls and sinks in it. So if you're in there standing and waiting on somebody and they really need to use the restroom, your time is ticking. You're on time off task. So you have to walk on another end and find a restroom. That one could be closed or it's full. Then you have to go upstairs looking for a restroom. Same way with the break rooms. We have smaller break rooms, but they're not allowed for so many people. You have to leave. And you only have one way to get in and one way to get out, except for emergency doors. So I said, okay, well, there should be multiple entrances, because if you have to go upstairs and it looks like 2 football fields long, you have to walk. Even if you take a long time to get to the 4th floor, you have to walk a long way if you're working on the back side. So I said, why don't they have entrances on all 4 sides? So that would help out with people. If you have to go to break, you can park on the side that you're working that day, and it won't be so bad on the knees and the legs.
I've seen that facility. I was out there yesterday. It's massive.
Yes.
Yeah. And to think that you need to get to where you need to go and there's only one entrance. I mean, you guys must be walking like a marathon, running a marathon shift.
You're working those 3 to 4 hours already. And you got to think about whether it bothers you mentally, whether I should stay right here or go in the bathroom and sit down, or I'm going to be hungry for the next few hours, or just chance walking out of there, even if my legs are hurting, even if my knees are hurting, because I got to get something to eat. But you never really rest because you're walking fast, trying to beat the time. And then by the time you sit down, you have to warm your food if you're going out to get food. So, and they have a sign that says, try to bring food that you don't have to warm up. So then you have to rush back. So you really never get an opportunity to rest.
Man, no wonder there's high turnover, because human beings can only take so much of that.
Yes.
Can we talk a little bit about the time off task thing? Because, this is something I've talked to a number of folks here about. Right. Like I said, when I worked at warehouses and factories, it was bad. And we always had managers looking over our shoulders.
Yes.
But now at Amazon facilities, they are monitoring your every move and down to the second. So I guess for folks who have never been in that environment and who don't understand the level of surveillance and sophistication of that surveillance, what is kind of like, could you describe the time off task issue?
Okay, time off task is a term that they use for the time that you're not on task. That means working. So when you log in the morning, your login to your station says that you're there. At that point, your time is being monitored. So if you have to go to the restroom, that time is monitored that you're not scanning. You should always be scanning. I don't know how many minutes they give you. Hey, you're not scanning. What's going on? You have this amount of time off task. If I go to the restroom, you're basically, you're followed. Okay, where's Jennifer? Where's Jennifer? Where's Jennifer? Where's Jennifer? And if you're going for a long time, then somebody's going to pull up. Or like in the store department, I used to work in store. In store, they could send you bins, right, to put the product in. Well, in that department, if they send you bins already full, you don't have space to put any more items. So you have to push a button to send it. So now you're not scanning, but you're sending away pods because you don't have space for it. So what happens next is they're going to send you a message across the screen and let you know that you're sending away too many pods. But then you can't say to them, I don't have any room, the pods that I'm getting not allowing me space to put more products. So it's like they're talking to you, but you can't say this is the problem, or you don't have product. They're not bringing me product, so I don't have product to stow. They come talking to you or want to write you up. it's just like you're not even saying anything because they're going to say, well, okay, but I understand that, but.
Right. Mm-hmm. Right. To them, it's all excuses, right?
Yes, to them, it's excuses. When you legitimate, if you look at the cameras, you'll notice that I don't have any work. Nobody brought me work. And so that time off task, or I was going to the restroom, but if you see me, you can see me going from walking and tired, walking from restroom to restroom to try to find one that's open.
Mm-hmm. I know that, Amazon got a lot of great publicity, right, for a time during the COVID-19 pandemic when they had their hero pay, which they took away, a couple months later. But, the issues that workers have been facing during the COVID-19 pandemic, those didn't go away.
No.
So I guess could you talk a little bit about kind of those issues and the hazards that workers have been dealing with working at an Amazon fulfillment center during a deadly pandemic?
Well, one of the things is they tell us that we have to be 6 feet apart, but our stations are not 6 feet. So that's one of the issues we were having. Another one is they sent out a mass message to let us know that someone at the facility has COVID. Well, we have a known case, and if you have had close contact with this individual, then we will inform the individuals. But what we soon realized that Amazon was not giving us adequate information about the people who work near you. So therefore, nobody was contacted and told the person that you work next to today have COVID. The person that you swap stations with have COVID. It's the same all over the facility. Then they start putting up plastic screens or, just doing different things. But people start getting fired for not being 6 feet. But the thing we look at is management are grouped together all the time. And sometimes it's hard to keep from being 6 feet because if you're walking and somebody else walking near you, then it's a possibility because we can't measure our space. And then if we're on break, everybody's going out at the same time. We're rushing trying to get it. You don't know how to measure. Okay, am I 6? But everybody's still trying to back up and get out. But then that pulls against your time as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if you're like you said, if you're already, you have so little time on your break, and you've got to walk across this massive facility, and you know that when you finally get to a break room that's open, and you got to scarf down your food and then get back, you're not going to be thinking about like kind of keeping your distance. You're going to be rushing to try to eat your food and get back to your station so that you don't get fired. God, I mean that's
right.
Yeah, that is wild. And I don't want to keep you for too long, and I sincerely appreciate you taking the time to talk to me. And I guess I wanted to kind of talk about what this you mentioned management. You mentioned that management's always together, right? And obviously we know that Amazon has brought in union busting consultants. There have been captive audience meetings. I guess could you talk a bit about what management has been doing to discourage workers from voting to join the union? Well,
some of them have been going around talking to the people. If you all leave, half of us gonna leave. If you all bring in the union, half of us gonna leave, and we don't need a union coming in telling us what to do. The meetings, some of them come in the meeting with us and they help the anti-union person who's in there teaching the class. They kind of edge it on for them, I don't see, one of the ladies said, I don't see why you all are complaining because once we got here, we realized that you all are only paying $400 for rent. So that's good compared to where we came from. So it was an uproar in the classroom, and it was like an insult to the black community because one of the young ladies said, "So you think it's cheap in Alabama? Where did you find that at? Would you?" She said, "Well, when we got here, we found out. Well, in the people in the classroom, none of us pay $400 for rent." And one of the things that I really wanted to say in there is that Well, you know, if they're paying $400 for rent, where do you think they may be living? So that's why we're fighting, so that everyone could live in a decent community or build their community up and get respected. So they're coming, interrupting us on our workstations, telling us why we shouldn't vote for the union, or it's bad. They go on lavish vacations with your money. It's a bunch of, you know, extra stuff.
So the consultants who are getting paid $3,200 a day are telling you that the union's gonna go on vacation with your money.
Yes. Also, the process managers also. So I think they're working together.
Yeah. I mean, this is one of the things that blows me away, right? Is like, you know, because I looked at Amazon's, you know, Antiunion website, the one they set up, the Do It Without Dues. And they say the same thing that, you know, any company that's trying to discourage workers from joining a union, it's all the same stuff, right? They say, oh, we don't need a third party in between us, right? You, the workers can talk to management directly. If you bring in a union, that's not the case. It's like, how are you going to call the union a third party when you've flown in union busting consultants from like Washington, D.C.?
Exactly.
That looks like a third party to me.
That's a third party, yeah. In my experience, the company that I worked for before coming there, we had no problems with management. We were union organized, and we still had good relationships with management. They still had picnics for us, grilled us steaks. They gave us bonuses. And if we had any problem, we were able to go to them. So we barely had issues where we needed to just, hey, call the union to come in, you know. So if we don't have a relationship with management with Amazon, it's because they don't want a relationship. And this is one of the things I'm saying, how are they coming in between our relationship when we didn't have one with you at first? Right. We didn't have a relationship. So when the union comes in, now we will have an opportunity to sit down and really have to force you guys to have a relationship with us, hear what we have to say, and sit down and reason with us about the issues that are taking place in the facility.
Well, so can I ask you about that just real quick, right? Because this is something that I think is really important for folks who are watching this to understand, right? Is that, you know, a lot of attention gets put on, you know, what unions can do for wages and benefits, right? And not that wages and benefits aren't important. They obviously are, right? But, you know, it's just been so apparent the more that I've talked to workers at the fulfillment center, folks here at the union, right? It's clear that it's about so much more than that. And a lot of it revolves around what you just described, which is working. This is an Amazon fulfillment center with 5,800 workers. And there is really no system of accountability, no kind of democratic say that the workers have in how things are run.
That's correct.
And so I guess could you talk a little bit about, you know, what the union would mean for you and your coworkers in that respect, beyond the wages and the benefits?
Well, what the union would bring is Amazon would have to sit down and talk to us, because to me, when Jeff stepped down, it looks like he turned his back. That I hear what you all are saying, but I'm already giving you what you need. It will force them to sit down and look at what we're saying versus ignoring what we're saying now. So they will be forced to sit down. Hey, look at this. These are some of the issues that we have. We deserve to be respected. Not talk to like anything, or when we go to human resource, they get up and walk away and start laughing with their colleagues when we have an issue and we're on our breaks, or when the security alarm goes off randomly while we're on our break. Then we have to turn and go out, empty our pockets, and take our shoes off on our break. But it takes away from our breaks. We don't get that time back. Yeah. So I asked the question. I said, well, you have random security checks on our breaks. If I'm one day I was going out to get lunch. But I was, the security went off on me. So what that means, make a right, scan your badge, make another right, undress, take your jacket off, empty your pockets, take your shoes off, and be patted down. And, but then you have to put all your stuff back on or whatever you have. And then you go to break. But it takes away from your break. They don't give that back. So it's like they take things from us because they have the power to do it. They talk to us and treat us in a way that is not dignified for any human because they have the power to get away with it. So what a union would do for us is to say, hey, you can't do these people like this. Now we're here and you're going to listen to what they have to say. Listen to what they have to say and reason with them on the issues that's in here. But because my thing is, people on the outside are not able to see what's on the inside, and hearing us, it's like, okay, are they really telling the truth? Or wait a minute, we have too many people saying the same thing. So it will help us for our voices to be heard.
Mm-hmm. And I guess just as a final question, what would you say to folks around the country who have their eyes on Bessemer right now? Not only Amazon workers who just, recently there was a national show of solidarity mm-hmm. where you had Amazon workers around the country kind of demonstrating on a Saturday. But you also have a lot of folks, who are watching this campaign very closely because they know how big and influential Amazon is as a company. They know that unless workers have some say in the direction that company is going, it's going to keep going in the direction it's going now. Mm-hmm. And so I guess, for folks, who are involved in the union drive, but also, just as a citizen in this country, right? A consumer, what would you say to folks out there watching, about the significance of a successful union vote in Bessemer?
Well, what I would say is this is very important because as I analyzed before we even started the campaign or reaching out to the union, I analyzed things around the facility and what direction we should go in. But one thing has happened for so many years is that the bottom of the pyramid holds the foundation of the pyramid. But so often the foundation get ignored. Unless issues happen that now we need to take a look because some things are going on that there may be a crack. So what am I saying? Sometimes we don't say anything because the people on the top of the pyramid are stronger and they're more powerful. But at some point in our lives, this is for everybody across the nation. You have to realize that there's something on the inside of you that's telling you your voice is stronger than you think. Because without the foundation, the pyramid can't stand. Mm-hmm. So when we all join together in solidarity, that brings us closer together with a powerful and intentional goal to allow this mission to come to fruition. Even if the union don't make it to this Amazon, this is not just an act. This is a mission for the whole United States. It's time to stand up and stand out and let those on the top understand that we're people too.
Well, Jennifer, thank you so much for sitting down and talking to me. For the Real News Network, I'm Maximilian Alvarez, Editor-in-Chief, continuing our coverage of the union vote here in Bessemer, Alabama. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.